Spurge here, and in this video we're going to discuss the new Schuberth S3 helmet. So we saw the S2 go away about 4 or 5 years ago and nothing has come in to replace it. But recently we've really seen Schuberth putting a lot of effort in to revamp their entire line, and they've now introduced a new S3. The too long didn't read here is this is going after the Shoei GT Air 2. This is a sport full face or sport touring full face helmet aimed on comfort, long distances, and making sure that it is quiet for you to enjoy the ride. Now, I'll hit this right up front because it's one of the questions we always get. How quiet is it? Schuberth has crazy claims about how many decibels, it's really reading in a wind tunnel. Quiet is subjective. Quiet to you is not the same as quiet to me. That being said, in our initial testing of this, it is, in our humble opinion, one of the quieter, if not quietest, helmets in the full-face world that we have used in recent years. Would still probably be using earplugs if it were me on a long ride, but to what we can tell from Schuberth's claims, it is one of the quieter full-face helmets on the market. So, like I said, you're looking at this helmet if you are looking for something for long-distance sport touring, regardless of the style of motorcycle you're on. This is going to work great if you're sport touring on a GS 1250 or if you're out there sport touring on a Honda VFR. So, really a wide range of riders that might be considering this helmet. Comes in around the $600 price point, which is about $50 more than what the S2 was. But again, the S2 has gone away 4 or 5 years ago, and a lot has happened in the world in 4 or 5 years from a pricing standpoint. So the fact that it's coming in at the $600 price point puts it right in the middle of the range of what you'd expect for premium helmets in 2023 going into 2024. Now, from a DNA standpoint, this is a C5, but without a modular design. If you're looking for a modular helmet, you're looking for a shift away from the S3, look at the C5. If you like the idea of the C5, but you don't want a modular helmet, look at the S3. That's really, a lot of the DNA that we're seeing here is carrying right over into this helmet, but you now have a full wraparound chin bar on this that is not modular in its design. Still EPP protection at that chin bar, and we're gonna get into all of that. So what we're looking at from a construction standpoint, DFP fiberglass and basalt shell. The DFP stands for direct fiber processing. What this does is it allows Schuberth to take the strands of the fiberglass and create them thicker in certain areas where you want more protection and thinner in areas where you don't need as much protection, but you can cut down on weight. So the one thing I will note here is that with this shell, slightly different than the shell that is being received in Europe, because Europe, you do have to meet ECE standards. In America, you have to meet DOT standards. So this is going to be a DOT only helmet for the American market. Keep that in mind. 2 shell sizes. The extra small through the large gets 1 shell size, and then the extra large up to the 3XL gets the 2nd shell size. I will call out a nitpick right here. I think for a helmet at $600, there should be 3 at least, if not 4 shell sizes to choose from. The problem is the person that is wearing this in an extra small is going to have the same external shell size as the person wearing a large, and that's just going to look big on their small frame, to put it lightly. So I would love to see Schuberth introduce at least 1 additional shell size for this helmet line. 3 intake vents, 2 exhaust vents. You can see the vents at the front. You're going to have 1 that pulls down from the chin, 1 that opens this way and pushes up to an internal vent at the inside of the face shield, and then you're going to have the dual position, 3 position if you include closed, but you have full open, medium open, and then closed. And I did that backwards. So it's closed, medium open, full open, if you're looking at that. And then the back is a passive vent, so there's no way to close off the back vent. From a weight standpoint, we talked about the direct fiber processing and being able to lay fibers in different areas. Still gonna come in around 3 pounds, 13 ounces in a medium. The one thing I will note here is that weight does include the fact that there are speakers and a microphone already included in this helmet, as well as the wiring, because this is already set to go and accept the S2 system or the SC2 system, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. But that helps to add some of the weight here, is the fact that a lot of those electronics are already baked into this helmet for you. You are going to have a drop-down sun visor. And when we're talking about the internal fit on this, it is going to be an intermediate oval fit. Slightly longer front to back, slightly narrower down the side of the head. No surprises from a fitment standpoint. There is going to be a way to modulate the fitment in sizes medium through extra large. Now, when we talked to Schuberth about this, I said, well, what about the people wearing a extra small or a 2XL? And they said that in their studies, they found that the people that needed the most adjustment were in the medium to extra large size range. So what you'll notice when we take a look at the interior on this, you can fine tune the fitment of the interior for slightly rounder or slightly longer oval, depending on what your actual head shape is. If you have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to head shape, make sure you check out our How to Size and Buy a Motorcycle Helmet guide. We demystify a lot of what goes into sizing a motorcycle helmet beyond just small, large, extra large. So we already talked about comparables in this space. Like I said, Schuberth is going directly after Shoei with the GT Air 2 in their own line. You could compare this against something like the C5 if you want more of a modular design with a lot of the same features that we're going to discuss in this particular video. So we already talked about the vents of the front. You got very simple actuated vents at the front, at the top. You are going to have a very sturdy face shield with this. Like the face shield, you've got little turbulators. You've got a pin lock ready face shield. Pin lock is included in the box. You'll notice there's a little blue tint on it. That means that you haven't removed your film. You got to remove that film before you go out and you ride in it. Otherwise, things are going to look very blurry. And you are going to have a drop-down sun visor actuated over on the left-hand side. And while we're over here, to remove the face shield, you're going to see it's almost hidden, but there's a little lever. You push it forward. You have to push both sides forward at the same time. When you push them both forward, you simply pull back, face shield comes off, and then you rotate down, clicks back into place, and it's now locked into place. So again, both of those little levers have to be pushed up, and you just rotate the face shield back. That's how you take it off. So very easy to swap shields on this particular helmet. Love the fact that the pin lock is included. Love the fact that you've got solid detents with this. Again, you can ride with it half open, and it tends to stay there up to like, I think we rode it up to like 60, 65 miles an hour. And it does do a good job of holding that detents more so than what we've seen from some of the other designs from Schuberth. So great to hear that they're listening to some of the feedback that we're throwing out there, because we did struggle with some of the detents on previous versions. So taking a look at the side on this, the one thing I will note is that, I mentioned this a second ago, you are going to have a helmet that is compatible with Schuberth's proprietary SC2 comm system. Now, if you're trying to figure out what the features are on this, it's essentially their version. They partner with Sena. It's a 50S. So it's got the mesh technology, it's got Bluetooth technology. You can pair with an infinite amount of people if you want to. If you want all the information on this, you need to check out our video on the 50S and get the lowdown of what you can expect with this. It's just a unit that's designed to integrate into the helmet, so it cuts down on wind noise. Now, you're sitting here watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, well, Spurge, I already have a comm system. What am I gonna do now? So we did talk to the Schuberth reps with this. It is designed to work with a non-proprietary system. You can use a sticky mount. You can mount it right about here. The speakers that are in this can be removed. Unfortunately, the microphone cannot be. So if you're going to put your own comm system on this, you're probably going to not be able to use any kind of a boom mic. You'll probably have to use a sticky mic and just run it down and place it on top of the existing microphone that's in there. But for those of you that don't already have a comm system, the good news is that the SC2 system is one of the most sophisticated comm systems on the market. It integrates into the helmet, so it doesn't have to stick out super far, which means less wind noise, which continues to maintain the integrity of the Schuberth. And this helmet's already wired up. So there's already speakers in here, there's already a microphone in here. It is plug and play with the unit and the battery pack in the back, and then you go out and ride. So it makes it very simple. You don't have to worry about the actual installation of this helmet. Now, let's take a look at the inside. And Schuberth always gets me with this, because I go to remove the inside of a Schuberth helmet and I need the editor's help to make it look like I know what I'm doing, because Schuberths are one of the more complex helmets to remove the liners on. But we're gonna walk through this. We're gonna do it in real time, and you're gonna watch me struggle, or you're gonna watch me succeed. One note here. On this chin curtain, there's two pieces to it. This piece is removable. If you don't want it, you can pull it out, you can take it off, set it aside. This piece, we learned, is not removable. We learned it by removing it, and it's not designed to be removed. It's certainly not designed to go back in once you rip it out with your big gorilla hands. So would note that this part of the chin curtain is designed to stay in place. You don't want to pull that out. If you pull it out, it's not going to go back in, and then you're not going to have any chin curtain. And really, the reason that this system is so difficult for someone like myself to remove is because it's designed to help cut down the wind noise. It's designed to cradle around the bottom of your head and keep everything nice and tight and snug to prevent air and noise from moving up in there. That's part of the design. Now, Schuberth is going to have a ratchet strap. That is how they are designing this to close. Some people love that, some people hate it. I will leave it up for you to decide whether or not you prefer a double D-ring, but micro ratchet is how you actuate the closure on this. And then there's also a little Velcroed piece underneath this from a comfort standpoint. There were some complaints that, you know, the micro ratchet was hurting them underneath the chin. So there is going to be a little Velcroed pad under the bottom, and the Velcro is on the right spot, which means that the piece of Velcro that's designed to touch your face is the soft piece of Velcro. So no scratching or any issues there. They were very thought out in the design. What I will say is I practiced with this beforehand. The easiest way to get this out is to simply follow the rules. It says pull, pull. It's going to pull these sliders out from the side, and then you're going to have snaps that on snap. You do need to feed the micro ratchet out. That is a strap that is then connected around to the back, and that is how you pull the cheek pads out. I will say, as far as Schuberth goes, I think I made that look pretty darn easy. So this is probably one of the easier cheek pad systems to remove. Again, pull, that pulls out the side, onto the snaps, run the micro ratchet out, and you can set that aside. You will notice that those straps then go around to the back. I'm not going to go ahead and pull that back piece off. Well, I guess I'm going to. So you can pull the back chin piece off, or the back neck piece off. There's 8 different pieces that you have to remove. This is something that we saw introduced with the C5. So this is where we're talking about how customizable the helmet is. You have little pieces of padding you can remove, you can add, you can change the foam density on this. And again, with a lot of that we were talking about was the medium through the extra large, but very sophisticated system from Schuberth with this. And you can see each one has its individual size on it. Very easy to snap in, snap out. And each of the pieces clearly has a correct home and a not correct home. So while it looks like a lot to do here, it's actually easier than some of the other liners that we've had to mess around with. And because this is what makes it all customizable, this is what you're going to have to do. And you can see, again, there's a variety of pieces that you pull out. This is really the only manufacturer that we're seeing doing this. You can see that the speakers are already in there, so nothing you have to add like we talked about. The microphone is already in up front. And like we mentioned, it is not removable. The only thing to note here is that you can see the vent scheme on the top. The channels aren't that deep. Still works well to promote airflow. Would love to see maybe some deeper cutouts there, but for the most part, the ventilation works really well on this helmet. And what am I to say? I'm not an engineer. I mean, maybe that's part of what cuts down on the wind noise as well. But I was actually surprised to see that the channels for the wind tunnels there weren't deeper in the helmet. But like I said, I think this is really that combination of solid airflow for a touring rider, great reduction of wind noise with all the padding and all the technology working in here. And when you're thinking about that overall weight, just keeping in mind that from a simplicity standpoint, you've already got the speakers and the microphone and the wiring baked in. So all you need to do is plug that SC2 system in and you are set to ride. So it's great to see Schuberth innovating in a way that honestly harkens back to what made Schuberth such a famous brand in the motorcycle world. Really the return to quality that we've seen with helmets like the C5 and now the S3. It's really impressive. They're listening to feedback from customers, they're listening to feedback from riders, they're listening to feedback from retailers, and they're building better helmets. The S3 is a super impressive helmet. Like I said, it's really going after that touring premium rider out there. And if you're interested in more information on this, you want to hear what other riders have to say from Schuberth S3s that they're already using, you can click the info button on your desktop or mobile device. You can read other rider reviews, and you can always reach out to one of our customer service reps if you still have questions as to which helmet is right for you, your riding style, as well as your budget. I want to thank you for joining us for this first look at the Schuberth S3 helmet. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.